to Ask the Experts. We are here at CBSMoneyWatch.com. I am Jill Schlesinger, and I'm joined by
Jack Otter.
and special guest star
Alison Rogers.
Woohoo! Allie. Okay, I have to do Allie's bio because it is so impressive. I don't know that many summa cum laude. From University of Massachusetts at Cambridge.
That's correct. Also known as Radcliffe.
Yeah, very good. Okay, so Allie is, well, let me just start by saying that since graduating from Harvard, summa cum laude, Allie's been a reporter, an editor, a real estate agent, a Wall Street desk jockey, a columnist, a failed flipper, and a landlady. The National Association of Realtors. She sells, rents luxury co-ops in Manhattan. And if you've got $27,500 a month, she's got a very nice apartment for you. Hey, this is her book. Oh, I like it. Can you see it there? That's pretty good. Diary of a Real Estate Rookie. And, you know, she's just totally awesome. So we're going to dedicate this show to real estate in honor of Allie.
Thank you, Jill.
And all right, before we get into the dish, because you've got all the great gossip, right?
I got some of the great gossip.
I want a lot of gossip, Jack.
I'm looking forward to it.
We're looking forward to it. Let's do a little hard work here. No, this isn't hard work. Can you believe they pay us for this? First of all, thank you for coming in, Allie, because the stock market reversed course as soon as I realized you were coming in hours, and we started marching much higher. So
It knows I'm a bull.
isn't it so fabulous? But so, Allie, you've been doing the real estate tango for quite some time, and, you know, we've gotten some mixed messages in the last couple of readings. New home sales, existing home sales, not great. Slowdown after the first-time home buyer tax credit went away. So give us a pulse on what's going on in the real estate market.
Well, like I said, I'm a bull. And I think one thing that keeps happening to this market is that as we see any sign of recovery, people raise their expectations, which I think is in some ways not fair.
Mm-hmm.
So I was in this market a year and a half ago. It felt like food stamp time, and I'm sure every realtor in the country felt this way a year and a half ago. There was no credit. Sales were down. Sales in the New York area were down approximately 70% year over year in terms of volume. 7-0. It stopped. And now we just got an existing home sales number that's up 19% year over year from last year's number. And we're constantly hearing that it's a, quote, bad number. And I just think that really actually shows that we've had enough recovery to want to have even more recovery.
We're pigs, is what you're saying.
We're a little greedy.
We're pigs. Jack, what do you think? What do you think about the real estate market? Where do you think we are? And, you know, is this a time people should actually go in and buy something?
Well, I think one thing that's interesting is that among the many unusual things that have happened in the recent years is that the real estate market nationally moved in concert. What normally in the real estate market, it truly is local. But everything was going down everywhere. Of course, there were some, you know, Sacramento and Miami and a few, Phoenix were hit harder, but everything was going down. Now you're seeing Texas, for instance, apparently pretty strong. Not too much inventory, strong population growth, prices didn't go down as far. So as you see the splintering, I think the answer to your question is it depends on where you are.
Location, location, location.
But in general, extremely low mortgage rates and prices down from the peak. Yeah, sounds like a good time to buy real estate.
Now, Allie, I know you've got the rich and famous clientele of yours, but for the rest of us, the hoi polloi, with 30-year mortgage rates, fixed rate, about 4.6%, is that stirring the pot at all or not?
It really isn't. What's been happening is we're seeing people who are young families, maybe with 2 kids, wanting to get that 3-bedroom apartment that they've been priced out of. We're seeing a lot of that in New York, but anything higher, anything more expandable, any real celebrities reaching in to buy, we're not seeing that.
Interesting.
So really it feels like I guess you could say the upper middle class are trying to buy their forever homes, but nobody else is upgrading, nobody else is moving, even people with money in their pocket.
What about this idea that, you know, I know that refis are up, but, you know, you're saying not new home purchases, but what happened to the European market? Because I think last time you were here, you were things were actually okay in Europe. And I imagine that changed pretty dramatically when the crisis hit in Europe, and obviously the exchange rate changed a bit. So what's your view on, are you still seeing foreigners coming in and looking to buy in New York?
Much less so. We are still seeing a very active New York market, but it is very bimodal. It's at the lower end.
Wait a minute, bimodal? Did you just say that?
I
Thanks,
did
Joe.
say that.
You must have gone to Harvard. Oh my God. Fabulous. We never said that in Providence. Okay, bimodal, explain.
Very rich people, $20 million apartments, homes. We'll get to Lady Gaga in a minute. $20 million market is actually alive. Unfortunately, I don't currently have any listings in that market. And then what we would call lower end, the market up to about 1.5 million.
I know this, but if you're listening to this and you are not in New York City, you're like, that's the lower end, right? But it is weird. You know, there's just a report out that, you know, incomes are going up here because finance jobs have actually been added to the New York region recently. And so might that also explain that I just saw recently that rents are up a little bit, that rents are up 0.7% in the second quarter? Why would that be?
Because people who aren't buying have to live somewhere. And as long as those people have jobs, they're going to be paying for their housing.
Now, Jack, I just want to say that we got a report yesterday from the Mortgage Bankers Association that refis were up 9.2% last week. And so although you crowed like crazy on this here
Rub it in.
podcast,
Oh,
remember
no.
that.
Here it comes, yeah.
Talk to me about whether you are going to refi now. Does it make sense? If someone actually went and, you know, not a year ago, because actually a year ago is about when they were at this level, but, you know, in the last, say, 6 or 8 months, you can get a cheaper refinancing rate. Should people do that?
Well, you have to do the math and figure out how much you're really going to save. I mean, it would take me, they'd have to fall a lot farther. I could do well at today's level, but it would be so expensive to do the refinance that it wouldn't be worth it.
Well, I am going to tell you that my mortgage broker called me because I did a refi last year and I got, I think, 5% 30-year fixed. And on a co-op loan in New York City, I just locked in at 4.325.
Really?
30-year fixed rate, no points. Now, it's going to cost me a couple grand to close, which stinks. But, you know, I'm okay with that because I did the math. It was 13 months for breaking even for me. All right. So, I mean, it's maybe worth it. This is my feeling. There's a couple of reasons why people can't refi. Number one, your credit stinks, and so you can just stop listening at this point. But if you have decent credit, maybe, by the way, you did an appraisal in the last year, and it actually may have improved because I understand from some of the appraisers I talked to that they are no longer giving you the one guy said to me, the rock bottom, I have to hit the bid price of like what your apartment is worth or your house is worth. That they're trying to actually do some research and be real. You know, these guys, usually the pendulum swings all the way to the upside and then swings back to the downside. Maybe your appraisal is a little bit better and maybe it could be worth it. What do you think, Allie? Are the appraisals coming in where you need them to be or where you think they should be?
Well, we've, as realtors, had problems with the home valuation code of conduct, which, you know, appraiser John Miller says.
Wait a minute. There's a code of conduct?
There's a code of conduct. There's new regs that were implemented a year ago. And appraiser John Miller said, you know, it's no surprise that the acronym sounds like havoc. It really has been very difficult. We've seen a lot of out-of-location appraisers coming in, and in New York, that means somebody who doesn't know the difference between First Avenue and Park Avenue.
Oh, my.
But despite that, appraisals are coming in okay. I think the key for refi, like Jack says, is how long you're going to take to amortize it. Also, I have one of those 5-1 arms. Remember those horrible loans that we weren't supposed to have, those adjustable rate mortgages? I'm paying 3 1/4.
Okay, you know
so,
what?
you know, if you've got an
bragging now.
arm, I am bragging.
You
now.
are. I like that about you.
Yeah.
It's good. It's fantastic. If you have an arm, but should you lock?
That's what we're agonizing over right now. Is do we want to step out of that and try to lock into a 4.5, 5 fixed?
Well, are you gonna?
I don't think so because I don't think I want to pay the bank $2,000.
Well, what are you gonna do then? I mean, what year are you into your 5-1?
7, year 7 maybe.
So what are you going to do?
Let it float, baby. Let it float.
And then
pay
what if
it down.
But
Pay it
but you
down
have the
as you
cash.
go.
Okay, but we would not counsel somebody to, just so we're clear, that unless you have the cash flow to really be able to pay it down, in most cases we'd be telling people to try to fix now.
Yeah.
Right?
It seems logical to try to lock in at this point.
Phew, got nervous there. If you've got a financial question, or if you've got a question for our expert, Allie, we are here live on the website, and you can just send us your questions right now. There's a little thing you go click, and you can send us your questions, and you can send us a email at asktheexperts@moneywatch.com. Phew. I always panic right before I say that, and in fact, there's no reason to panic. Let me give you a question.
I liked your click, though.
Click.
Yeah, that's nice. The way you
That's
do that.
nice. Hold on a second. I have a whole sort of thing here. If you like that, do you like this? Can you hear that? I don't hear it.
Can't hear it.
Well, it's just rolling. Good try. I'm supposed to have sound effects on my player here. Hold on, let me try this again. I don't hear that either. So much for my sound effects. Here's what they was. Okay, there. That's a much better sound
I think
effect.
Susie Orman stole that one.
Okay, that is
Let's not
not
go
to
there.
be
Yeah.
actually ever said in this studio ever again. You will not be invited back. Okay. Home buyer's tax credit was extended for the closing part of it. In other words, new people can't get into the program, but you were supposed to have had all your paperwork and your closing done by June 30th. It got extended. And so is that a good thing or a bad thing? What do we think?
Well, realtor thinks it's a good thing because the people who got locked out are people who bought homes before the April 30th contract deadline, sometimes way earlier, and then were told by their banks that they couldn't have their closings. And those people really felt they were going to lose $8,000. So I think it's a good thing that the banks are making room to accommodate those people so that they can close as they expected and get the tax credit they expected. It's not like we're giving them any more money than had previously been allocated. They're meeting the deadlines now.
All right. Here's a question, by the way, from Kathleen about the tax credit. She says that she qualified for the first-time homebuyer credit, but due to her husband's job, she had to relocate. Currently renting our house out, and we live in employee housing, and we're wondering if we will have to pay that credit back. Allie, because it has to be owner-occupied, right?
I would say consult your accountant, but it has to be owner-occupied, and I would bet you cannot claim it.
Oh.
But talk to your accountant first, because it's possible that owner-occupied could be defined as 2 years out of 5 or 3 years out of 5.
So maybe you can. You can wait to see.
I would definitely talk to a tax guy, but I would not expect that you could claim it.
What do you think, Jack? Yes, no?
Yeah, I think they're going to get nixed, but it sounds like they've got a nice deal. I mean, they're getting the income on this house, and they're living in employee housing. So
Yeah, right. So stop complaining.
Exactly.
Darn it. Okay, Allie, is it true that people are fraudulently claiming the tax credit? Is that the truth?
It's amazing. The Treasury Department just did a report which showed that prisoners with life sentences, so we know where they live, right?
Yeah.
They live in the big house.
Yeah.
Prisoners with life sentences were claiming the first-time homebuyer tax credit, claiming that they had went out and gotten principal residence.
Wait a second. So how are they catching them? Are they just auditing every single tax credit? What's happening?
This was a audit that the Treasury did of certain IRS records to see what percentage of fraud there was and to see, basically they're looking for test points where they can catch fraud. So I know we joke about your tax dollars at work, but honestly what this was the government kind of closing some loopholes so that tax dollars are effectively deployed. So it was a really pretty wonderful audit. Another thing they found is that people tend to circulate the same address. So they found 57 people claiming a credit on one address.
Well, maybe they all bought that place. Maybe it was a very big place.
It's in the records now.
All
so if you try to claim that address, the computer will flag you and it will go, Jill, sound effects.
Oh, I can't because they're
Bing.
just not working. I know.
Oh.
He keeps trying to tell me, by the way, Roland, who's running the board, he keeps telling me that, in fact, I can do this, but I'm playing it and there's nothing. So what can I say? This is one of these mechanical things. Let's do that. Ding, 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 ding. Okay, I just need one of those big old cowbells, right? That'd be great. I'm going to bring my own sound effects.
maybe this was Ira Rennert's house. Are you familiar with that? Out
Yes,
in the
I
Hamptons?
love
so
that
57
house.
people could easily live there.
That indeed,
Sure.
570 people could live there.
and
How
he-
many square feet is that house?
I know it's larger than the White House.
Ridiculous.
I don't know the exact number.
It has its own backup generator.
Oh,
Just
my
in
God.
case you were there and your power went out, it has its own little power plant.
You know, I was actually thinking about a backup generator myself in the last couple of days here during our heat wave, and I found out that CBS News has its own generator, so I was going to bring my sleeping bag there in case we lost our power. But thankfully, it wasn't necessary. Okay, so let me just see this. Allie, why do you know about all the celebrity gossip? What is going on? Are you having some sort of second life that we don't know about?
Well, I do have a couple of celebrity clients. They tend to be renters, which is one reason I'm not wandering around driving a Maybach. But
Darn it.
I do want to send secret congratulations. 2 of my clients who cannot be named got Emmy nominations today. You know who you are. I'm very proud of you.
Hold on a second.
Wow.
2 of my clients got Emmy nominations. We are so running in the wrong crowd, Jack.
But we did write about how an Emmy nomination can be a road to riches. So maybe they'll just figure, I'll plunk down for that $20 million apartment. And
You know what I'm so
Guys,
psyched?
it's time to buy.
Yeah.
You got the Emmy nominations. It's
Yeah, exactly. No kidding. But they don't want to be tied down or what? Why aren't they buying?
One
These pishers.
One thing that's very interesting about Hollywood people as opposed to doctors, lawyers, even Wall Street people, is that there's a big difference between gross and net. So you read about somebody getting $10 million for a movie and you think $10 million, I'll never earn that in my lifetime, but they're paying their manager 10%, they're paying their agent 15%, they're paying their publicist maybe a percentage. So there's a lot of people who dive into that pie before you see a net number.
Well, so what's going on? Who's looking that all right, we're in New York, so I know if you're not listening to in New York, this may not be that interesting, but I love it. Okay, who's looking? What do we need to know? I understand that Lady Gaga could be my neighbor.
Lady Gaga is looking in the Hamptons. I have heard reports she wants to be near Jill.
Of course.
For privacy reasons, we don't want to point out that Jill is south of the highway, but
Did I say that? Okay, I'm not. But I go south of the highway sometimes if I want to go to the ocean.
or if you're looking for Lady Gaga.
We only have one person on our staff who's really hanging with Lady Gaga, and I will let you know about that later. So what
It's
do you
not
think?
me.
And it is not Jack. Although, couldn't you see Lady Gaga hanging with you at the Maidstone? Couldn't you just?
No.
No, okay.
But you know what? It's perfect that she's in Watermill because that's where Robert Wilson is. And he is basically the Lady Gaga of his generation.
There you go. By the way, I don't know if you know this, Allie, but Jack's first journalism job was at.
The East Hampton Star.
So,
Wow.
so he knows a lot of Hamptons gossip himself. So where else? Who else is looking for, like, what's happening? Like, give us some little more scoopage here.
I mean, the big city thing that we're all looking for today, of course, is we're all waiting for LeBron's decision. It's been leaked. It's going to be Miami and not New York, but you have New York realtors stepping on each other's heads trying to get to LeBron.
Jack, you know, they said that he was going to they said, oh, he's doing the announcement from Greenwich, Connecticut. And everyone's like, that means he's going to be in New York. I'm like, no, it means he's checking in on his hedge fund investments. You know why? That's why he's in Greenwich. LeBron coming or not right now, on the record?
I'd have to say no would be my best guess, but I'm just playing the odds. There's 4 options, so I've got a 75% chance of being right.
That's it. Well, you know, all right.
Yeah.
I don't think I don't really care if he comes or not. I have to tell you because I hate the Knicks and I hate the Dolans and I hate Madison Square Garden. And there it is.
As
The
long
one-
as you don't hate the Mets, it's okay.
I love the Mets.
Yeah.
The
That's
one
fine.
good reason for him not to come is because that way the Dolans don't have a victory. I'm
I-
totally with you
I
on,
mean,
on that one. Yeah.
ridiculous. Totally ridiculous. Talk to me about Barbara Bush. What's happening?
She currently lives in the Central Village, which is the area right north of Washington Square Park around Lower Fifth Avenue. You've got a nice little cluster of celebrities there. She's on Uma Thurman's block.
Uma? Oprah. Uma? Oprah. Okay,
Uma
sorry.
Barbara. But she has been spotted looking for a place in the West Village, which is sort of the other celebrity little
Enclave?
enclave. That's a good word.
What's happening on the Upper West Side, just out of curiosity, madam?
I hear people have been seeing Matt Damon.
Am I going to see him? I mean, that's be so fabulous. Although I have to say that when I see a celebrity in New York, it's just not that interesting. It doesn't ever, it's not quite as much fun. But however, when I did see Christy Brinkley in the Hamptons, I did not stop staring at her. She's gorgeous.
I felt that way when I saw Gwyneth Paltrow on the Hamptons. It was like, you just don't look like other people.
Yeah, they're like.
I was interviewing her, and it's the only time this ever happened to me in my life. It was actually for radio. When in my brief radio career, I held the microphone in front of her. She started talking, and I completely forgot what I asked her, what she was talking about. I've never experienced that before.
Right? That's awesome.
And she looked perfect, no makeup, anything. She's just always perfect. Yeah.
Now, celebrities are not us. So, Allie, give us the 3 things, if people are out there, they've got the money, you think it is a good time to buy, pretty much. I mean, if you can afford it. Let's assume that people have run the numbers. They're done renting. They're ready to make the move up. What are the 3 things that people really need to keep on their minds? Right now, they're going out to look. What do they need to know?
Well, I think that we've all gotten more conservative, and so I think you need to be able to figure how you can stay in your target place for a few years if you need to. I would advise no longer saying if you're going to move in 5 years, buy. If you're going to be there for 7 years, buy.
Okay.
So I guess a large enough footprint would be the first thing to look for. The second thing I think would be that we've seen as the market has declined, that what has stayed up, what has declined less has been quality. So I would say try to buy quality. And that generally is, the saying, location, location, location. That generally is buy the worst house on the best block. That's still pretty much held true. As we've seen this latest crash, is that the houses in the good areas did better than the houses in.
And that's across the country. I mean, that doesn't.
It's a rough guide,
Yep.
but I mean, people are more worried about downside protection.
But wait a second. So what if you're like in a place and you live in San Francisco and they're developing some place that is sort of the new and upcoming place? Are you saying that maybe don't go into don't be the early adopter of that place?
I've never been an early adopter type real estate agent. I tend to sell co-ops rather than glassy new condos because I want the shakedown cruise to take place on somebody else's watch.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Let somebody else do the punch list. Let somebody else find the first leak. You can be the second owner.
Okay.
You'd be just as happy.
I think that makes sense. And Jack, you want to hop in here and give some real estate? You own some real estate, so what do you think? I mean, when you're looking, let me ask you a question. You also you've been a renter, you've been an owner, and would you consider if renting is a bad thing, or do you feel like people can give someone permission to rent, man? give them the chance.
Yeah, I mean, we've said this before, and that is that, of course, home ownership is a great thing for the right people. But I think that people are too eager to buy homes, and I don't want to scare any of your clients away. I don't think I will.
I don't think you will.
But my sister-in-law is about to get married, and her future husband lost his job in a downsizing. She isn't crazy about her job, and yet they're in this rush to buy a house. And I say, guys, they're both in the computer industry. Forget about it. Rent. Maybe
Chill
your next
out.
job's in San Francisco. Why be in a rush to lock yourself down?
I can't read what she's holding up. Can anyone read that?
I couldn't read it.
All right.
no.
Oh, she wants us to talk about the mortgage interest rate deduction.
Oh,
right,
okay.
yep.
Mortgage interest rate deduction. Is it going away, Jack?
I don't think it will. There seems to be a movement toward taking it away, and Allie put down all sharp objects. While I benefit immensely from it as the owner of a co-op in a building that has a mortgage, I see the logic. I think, frankly, it just gets priced in immediately so that it's probably saving me a bit of money as a New Yorker with high state taxes, double mortgage, all that sort of thing. But in general, I think it just gets added into the price, and so it doesn't save that much.
Allie, is it going away or not?
First of all, the curbs on it are proposed and not passed. And secondly, I don't really think it matters because at the income levels that people are talking about new curbs, those people, including possibly some of us at this table, already experience the alternative minimum tax. So to the extent that there's going to be a cap, we see it because we see our taxes done with the mortgage deduction, and then we have to go back and do AMT and pay AMT. So I don't think there's going to be any practical difference.
There is no chance in hell that this is going away. You heard it here. There will be rioting in the streets before this goes away. And the reason is that people really have gotten used to it. And so there will be some nickel and diming and other things, and it'll be AMT, it'll be something else. This particular credit that people get that is absolutely something that favors wealthier people than less wealthy people is not going away. And it may not be fair, but there's no way it's happening. Just you heard it here. I'm a Tea Party
I think
girl.
one strong argument against it would be the fact that people have made literally 30-year plans
Absolutely.
based on its existence.
I mean, let's say
So
it's
tough to take that
15-year
away.
plans,
Sure.
because even on a 30-year, you're only going to get 10 or 12 years of interest
Yeah.
of that, right? But you know what? I don't think this is the way it's going to happen. I think taxes are going up. Sorry. That's just the way it is. There are not enough rich people to tax to get all the money that we need. I don't think this particular deduction is going to go away. But there's going to be a lot of phase-outs of other things. Don't worry. Your taxes are going to go up in other ways. Anyway, we have to call this a day because we have to grill Allie about who all of her clients are off the air so we can get the real good gossip and then sound like we know something. If you've got a question for us, shoot us an email, asktheexperts@moneywatch.com. We can certainly get lots of your questions during the week. We'll do it in our next podcast. And we want to thank Miss Allie. Hold on, let me hold your book up again. Author, genius.
Thank you.
Diary.
Newsweek liked my book.
Well, let me just say this, that Newsweek called it witty. And the New York Observer said beach read fun. And AOL Wallet Pop said a valuable guide for rookie buyers. That's our alley. And blogger extraordinaire. That's a very beautiful thing. So thank you so much for joining us. You'll come back. You let us know. You say right now, good time to buy. That's your bottom line.
I feel pretty good about it. Mortgage rate's 4.5.
Yeah, we're liking that. Well, we thank you so much for joining us. I am Jill Schlesinger.
I'm Jack Otter.
You are Allie Rogers, and we love having you. So come back again. And you've been watching Ask the Experts, and we thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you next week.
Happy trails
Corn dog.
until we meet again.